That fact is not lost on the drivers or the crew members, but they're doing things both on and off the track to try and help conserve gas. Breaking news out of Columbia: for the second time this spring, quarterback Steven Garcia has been suspended. From the NIT to the big show, the Clemson Tigers felt like they deserved a spot. Well, they got one.
WNBF News reporter Matt Moore is live at BB&T Coastal Field to fill us in on what the Rangers are saying about taking on the Chanticleers. Matt?
That's right, Chandy. It's a beautiful day out here, and Coastal's getting ready to play, but so are the Rangers right behind me right now. Right now, I've got Matt Harrison with me. He's a Rangers pitcher.
It's just fun to, do something a little different than you normally do, so I'm excited to be here.
After losing your conference championship game, it's tough to rebound, pick yourself up, and go win the consolation bracket.
NASCAR was at the Darlington Raceway today, and if there's one thing that Camping World trucks use plenty of, is gas. Each lap around the track Too Tough to Tame is sure to use up a lot of it. WNBF News sports reporter Matt Moore is live at the raceway tonight. Matt, these drivers are well aware of those prices at the pump.
Yeah, Laura, they are. That fact is not lost on the drivers or the crew members, but they're doing things both on and off the track to try and help conserve gas.
Let's jump in. All right.
When NASCAR driver Travis Quapple and I jumped in the pace car before the Too Tough to Tame 200, we weren't thinking about miles per gallon or the cost to fill up our tank. But even for a professional driver, those things matter.
We're all looking at ways to, save a couple dollars.
It's hard when you're driving your team across the country each week for one race after another, but Quapple's team is finding ways to save.
We get a team van and load a bunch of guys up in there instead of everybody driving themselves.
He says this season that's especially important because gas at the track has become a little more expensive. That's because NASCAR is going green with a new ethanol gas.
It's just the right thing to do. We feel like for the country and where it's going. So we thought, to put the fuel in the race cars, sure, there's a little bit of a transition and a little bit of a cost to the race teams, but ultimately we think it's the right thing to do.
Steve O'Donnell says NASCAR is dedicated to help all of the teams save money, though.
We work pretty closely with the race teams, especially in the truck series, and trying to cut where we can, but ultimately we've got to keep the product on the racetrack as good as possible.
In my mind, being a professional race car driver, it's pretty easy to save fuel.
From the track to the road, Quapple says taking it easy on the gas pedal, keeping proper tire pressure, and taking good care of your car are ways to save a couple bucks and maybe win a race.
Do we have the fuel mileage to maybe make it to the finish of the race with one less pit stop than our competitors?
Now, Quapple wasn't able to pull out the win tonight in Darlington. He finished 17th, but did pick up 27 points, hopefully towards a Camping World Truck Series championship. Now, later on in sports director Jason Belk will have all the highlights from the Lady in Black. Live from the Darlington Raceway, I'm Matt Moore, WNBF News.
All right, thanks so much, Matt.
The Coastal softball team hit a dry spell over the weekend. They're reeling after 6 straight losses. A visit from South Carolina, that's not going to make life any easier. The Chants already fell to Carolina the first week of the season. South Carolina's pretty good. Gamecocks had things going early off of Michelle Evans. Dana Hawthorne with the shot down the line. 2 runs come across. She ends up with the triple, and it's 6-0 USC. Ashley Bagwell actually came on in relief and had a good 5th inning, gets the strikeout there. The Chants just didn't have an answer for the Gamecock offense. USC wins 9-0. CCU will now head to California, take on Stanford. Plenty of excitement for the Chanticleers as their basketball season marches on. After losing your conference championship game, it's tough to rebound, pick yourself up, and go win the consolation bracket. But CCU knows a trip to Alabama is a marquee game, and beating the Crimson Tide on ESPNU would give this team even more exposure. Head coach Cliff Ellis says this team knows what it takes to win in the SEC after beating LSU earlier this year.
We're a totally different team than we were when we played LSU. But this time of year, you never know what happens. We will hang our hat on that, but our focus is going to be to take care of business against Alabama.
Now, Coastal isn't the only Palmetto State team playing some extra basketball, not by a long shot. We'll be watching 4 other teams in 3 different tournaments over the next month. Joining CCU in the NIT, the Charleston Cougars. CFC will be hosting defending NIT champ Dayton tomorrow at 7. You can catch the Cougars on ESPN2. And it won't get as much publicity, but the collegeinsider.com basketball tournament is in its 3rd year of existence, and the Furman Paladins, they'll be participating. They'll travel to East Tennessee State tomorrow. The Paladins won 22 games this year and finished 3rd in the SoCon standings behind Wofford and Charleston. And we'll obviously be watching a couple of teams in the big dance. Both Clemson and Wofford are in the tourney this year. The Tigers get things started on Tuesday with a round 1 game against UAB. That one tips off at 9 from Dayton on True TV. And the Terriers will get Jimmer Fredette and the BYU Cougars on Thursday out in Denver. And you're probably asking yourself now, what channel is True TV? I know I did. Well, if you have Time Warner in Florence, it's channel 43, and here in the Grand Strand, it's 65. If you have HTC out of Conway, tune into channel 56. For our satellite viewers, DirecTV will air the game on channel 246, and Dish users will want to catch it on 204. Clemson game tips off at 9 tomorrow night, and we'll have all of those highlights at 11.
If you need a refresher on that, just call Matt.
Exactly. Well, I mean, True TV, not a whole lot of sports going on there, but they have the new contract this year, so you're going to have a lot of college basketball on True TV.
Good to know.
Good to know where it is now.
Yes.
Thanks, Matt.